I never thought that attending a wedding would become the most unforgettable memory of my life. It was supposed to be a joyful day, filled with laughter and blessings. But what happened went far beyond my imagination. Amid the luxurious setting of the five-star hotel, with white flowers lining the walkway and soft golden lights filtering through silk curtains, I found myself facing harsh words and contemptuous glances. What led me to this moment? Perhaps it was fate, or maybe the truth was waiting to be revealed. My name's Clara Mitchell and I am 32 years old. I live with my husband Ethan, who is 6 years older than me, and our little son Max, who is 4. My family is not perfect, but to me it is everything I need. Ethan is a thoughtful man who always puts family first. Max is lively and adorable, constantly bringing joy to our small home. Today, the three of us were attending the wedding of an old friend of Ethan's. To be honest, I only knew the groom from a few social encounters, but Ethan insisted that he and the groom had been very close during their college years. I agreed to attend, partly to support my husband and partly because I wanted a change of scenery, a break from the daily grind. The wedding was held at a hotel in the city center with a blend of classic and modern architecture. As I stepped into the grand hall, I couldn't help but marvel at the grandeur of the place. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above and delicate white flowers mixed with tiny baby's breath blossoms adorned the walkway from the entrance to the stage. Everything was arranged perfectly, with not a single detail out of place. As soon as Ethan walked in, he immediately recognized a few familiar faces. He greeted them politely, allowing me the freedom to explore my surroundings. After settling Max into the kids' area, where the staff attentively took care of him, I decided to freshen up in the restroom. Standing in front of the mirror, I adjusted my soft curls and reapplied a bit of lipstick. Wearing a long pastel blue dress, I felt both confident and comfortable. Just as I stepped out of the restroom, I heard an unpleasant whisper echoing down the hallway. "Oh, look who's here! How did a piece of trash like that manage to show up?" A cold and haughty female voice rang out. I stopped in my tracks, my heart suddenly pounding. My instincts told me those words might be directed at me, but my rational mind urged me to keep walking, to ignore it. "Why is she here? We didn't invite someone like her, did we?" The second voice chimed in, sounding even more irritated. I tried to keep my steps steady, my eyes fixed straight ahead. I had no intention of causing any conflict on someone else's happy day. However, the quick footsteps approaching from behind made me wary. "Hey you, I'm talking to you!" A rough hand grabbed my arm. The sharp pain made me turn around. In front of me stood a young woman, her face impeccably made up but her eyes brimming with defiance. Beside her was an older woman, perhaps in her 50s, with weary expression that barely concealed a deep-seated disdain. "Excuse me, who are you?" I tried to keep my voice calm even though a storm was brewing inside me. "Don't play dumb. Did you forget already? I'm Emily, your sister, and this is our mother." The young woman spoke, her sharp green eyes glinting with satisfaction. I felt like I'd just been hit by a tidal wave. Everything around me seemed to blur for a moment. I couldn't recall ever meeting them, and it was even harder to believe that they claimed to be my family. "You must have forgotten, but we used to live under the same roof. Truly ungrateful," the older woman added, her voice like a dagger aimed straight at my pride. I took a deep breath, pulling my arm free from Emily's grip. "I don't know what you're talking about, but if there's nothing else, I'd like to return to the ceremony." "You're not going anywhere. Who do you think you are, a high school graduate with no future, and you dare to hold your head high in front of us?" Emily raised her voice, making sure everyone around could hear. I glanced around and noticed a few people had begun to pay attention to our conversation. All eyes were on us, a mix of curiosity and surprise. But I couldn't allow myself to become the center of a scene. "I'm sorry, but I don't remember having a family like the one you just described. If I did, I surely would have had better memories. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go." I turned away, leaving behind their jeering voices and piercing stares. Each step felt heavy, but I knew that if I stopped, I would never break free from this painful cycle. Outside the hall, I spotted Ethan chatting with a few friends. He turned and smiled when he saw me. His smile was like a ray of sunshine, chasing away the dark clouds that had just loomed over me. I walked quickly toward him, reminding myself that this was my real life, not the bitter words and cold gazes I had just endured. And this is where the real story begins, where the past and present collide, where secrets slowly start to unravel. Ethan smiled and moved closer to me, a hint of concern in his eyes as he noticed my slightly tense expression. "Are you okay, Clara?" he asked gently, his hand holding mine, offering the familiar comfort I needed. I nodded, giving him a soft smile. "I'm fine, just felt a bit suffocated inside, so I stepped out for some fresh air." "That's good. I just ran into a few old friends and they want to meet you too," Ethan said cheerfully. But before I could respond, a sharp voice pierced the air from behind me. "Oh, look, she still has no shame staying here, does she?" Emily, the woman who claimed to be my sister, stormed over with a determined stride. Following closely behind her was the middle-aged woman I assumed was my mother. She stood with her arms crossed over her chest, her face a clear mask of disapproval. I squeezed Ethan's hand tightly, signaling him to stay calm. "Clara, who are they?" he asked, his voice turning more serious. "Oh, you don't know yet? She's our eldest daughter, but we disowned her a long time ago," the older woman said, her eyes looking at me as if I were nothing more than a worthless object. "I'm Barbara, her mother, and this is her sister, Emily." I remained silent, not wanting to react too quickly. A flood of hazy images from the past flashed through my mind, memories I had tried so hard to forget. Being left behind, being called a failure, never being good enough in their eyes. "She only graduated high school, she's done nothing with her life, just leeching off others," Emily continued, her voice dripping with disdain. "Emily, Barbara, I think you're mistaken." Ethan stood tall, his tone growing colder. "Clara is my wife, a wonderful mother to our son, and if I'm not wrong, we are all legitimate guests at this wedding." "Oh really?" Barbara sneered. "A nobody like her could marry you? You have no idea what a burden she was to our family. We had to support her until she finished high school, but she never gave anything back, just ran away and brought shame upon us." I could feel the tension in the air, the surrounding guests starting to take notice. I took a deep breath, trying to maintain my composure. "If you truly believe raising me was such a burden, then I suppose it's time for me to pay you back, isn't it?" I spoke steadily, my voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "So, how much? Tell me, and I'll make sure we are done with each other for good." Barbara's expression went blank for a moment, clearly not expecting my calm and direct response. Emily, however, maintained her arrogant demeanor. "Who do you think you are? Someone who only does menial work and lives off others? Where would you get the money to pay us back?" Ethan's brow furrowed and he was about to say something, but I gestured for him to remain silent. "You know, Emily, I didn't just graduate high school. I went to college, and now I'm the CEO of a company that provides food services to several major hospitals in the city. I may not be a doctor or a lawyer, but I'm proud to say that I built my life on my own, without taking advantage of anyone." A heavy silence fell over the space. The other guests began to murmur among themselves, their whispers just loud enough for me to catch. I could see the shift in their expressions, no longer pity or ridicule, but rather surprise and even a touch of respect. "Impossible," Emily snarled. "You are lying. How could someone with nothing like you possibly be successful?" "It's okay if you don't believe me, Emily," I said gently. "But if you want the truth, Ethan can show you. My husband is one of the company's partners and he knows exactly what I've accomplished." Ethan nodded, took out his phone, opened a few documents, and held them up for everyone to see. "This is Clara's company profile. Not only is she the CEO, but she also helped the company triple its growth in the past 3 years. She is a strong, capable woman who deserves respect." Barbara and Emily's expressions changed instantly. The confidence drained from their faces, replaced by confusion and disbelief. No way, this can't be true," Barbara stuttered, unable to grasp what was unfolding before her. "We don't need your validation," I said, my voice still soft but firm. "We are here because of Ethan's friend's invitation, not to listen to hurtful words from the past." Emily opened her mouth to say something, but the words died on her lips when she noticed all the eyes around us staring. No one stood by their side anymore. The sense of isolation weighed heavily on the room, and I realized that they were the ones who truly did not belong here. I took Ethan's hand, signaling that it was time to leave. "Let's go. I think this event is no longer a place for us." Ethan nodded, his eyes filled with pride and love as he looked at me. As we walked away, I could hear whispers behind us, but this time they were not filled with mockery or judgment. People finally saw the truth. and I knew I had just turned a significant page in my life. This confrontation was only the beginning. The past might resurface, but I was no longer the fragile girl I once was. I had become stronger, and now I was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The atmosphere in the wedding hall grew heavy and stifling. The initial murmurs had faded into a tense silence, and all eyes were on us. Ethan stood beside me, his hand gripping mine tightly, as if to lend me strength. I knew I needed to stay calm, but Barbara and Emily's icy gazes sent a shiver down my spine. "You said I only graduated high school?" I spoke slowly, each word deliberate and full of conviction. "Then why do I have a college degree from Northwestern University? How could I build a company that provides food services to major hospitals in this city all by myself? And how did I become a CEO before turning 30? Barbara's face turned pale for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure. "Do you think a few lies can fool anyone? You're nothing but a leech, someone with no real worth." Ethan said nothing. He calmly took out his phone, opened a few documents, and held the screen up for everyone to see. On display was my company's profile, my name clearly listed under Chief Executive Officer. Revenue figures, partnership projects with hospitals, everything was supported by official documentation. "Here's the proof," Ethan said, his voice steady yet every word cut sharply. "Clara is not only my wife but also a successful businesswoman. She never needed to rely on anyone to achieve her success, especially not on this family." Emily snatched the phone from Ethan's hand, her eyes red with anger. "This is fake. How could she achieve any of this? She's a failure. My mother and I have had to endure her for so many years." "That's enough, Emily!" A male voice rang out, and I realized it was Daniel, Emily's husband. He had been standing behind us, looking exhausted, but now his face was filled with doubt. "You said Clara only graduated high school, but why is everything I'm hearing completely different? And another thing, you told me you graduated from a prestigious university, but I've never seen your degree. Why?" Emily stammered, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. I showed it to you already, don't you remember? Maybe you've been too busy with work to recall." "That's fine," Daniel replied calmly, pulling out his phone. "I'll call the university where you said you graduated. It's just a quick verification, right?" Emily suddenly grabbed the phone from Daniel's hand, her eyes wide with fear. "No need. You don't trust me? Why do you need to check? I'm your wife." The murmurs around us grew louder. Everyone could tell something was seriously wrong. Barbara had already stepped back a few paces, as if she wanted to disappear from the scene. "Give me the phone, Emily." Daniel's tone turned stern, but Emily shook her head frantically. "No. You don't need to check. If I said it's true, then it is true." Daniel could no longer hold back. He reached for the phone, but Emily reacted quickly, throwing it forcefully to the ground. The phone shattered, glass fragments scattering across the floor. The silence was so profound that I could hear someone stifling a sob. "Emily, what are you doing?" Daniel exclaimed, his shock and disbelief unmistakable. I just wanted you to believe me." Emily hung her head, her shoulders trembling. "You don't understand. I've been under so much pressure. Everyone always compares me to Clara. I just wanted to be loved, to be recognized. I just wanted to prove I was better than her." Barbara finally lost her composure. She shouted, "Emily, stop it. You're bringing shame to our entire family." But it was too late. Everyone understood that the truth had been exposed. The lies of Emily, Barbara's favoritism, and the abuse I had endured throughout my childhood. I gently turned to Ethan. "Let's go. I think we've been here long enough." Ethan nodded, placing his hand on my shoulder, guiding me away from the crowd. Every gaze followed us, but this time there was no contempt or disdain. Instead, they looked at me with respect and admiration, and it made my heart feel light. As we stepped out of the wedding hall, a refreshing breeze swept over me. The sky was a clear blue, and the soft sunlight felt like a warm welcome to a new beginning. I held Ethan's hand tightly, knowing I had left the past behind, and that better things awaited me. "Let's go home, love," I said with a smile, and Ethan responded with a warm smile of his own. "Home it is, Clara." After that chaotic wedding, Ethan and I returned home with a sense of relief. We resumed our lives, caring for Max and growing the company. But the aftermath of that day didn't fade away as easily as I had hoped. It was like an undercurrent beneath a calm surface, waiting for the right moment to rise. News about my old family began to trickle in through stories from friends and connections in the business world. Daniel, Emily's ex-husband, was sued by multiple patients for misdiagnosis and overcharging for services. Some even accused him of deliberately prolonging treatments for financial gain. The lawsuit not only damaged his reputation but also brought the hospital where he worked under investigation by authorities. Emily, on the other hand, seemed completely lost. After the truth about her fake degree was exposed, every door of opportunity closed on her. No longer the pride of the family, she faced cold indifference from Daniel, which eventually led to their divorce. The shock left Emily unable to maintain her composure. She threw herself into questionable relationships, hoping to find recognition and security. However, things spiraled further out of control when it was discovered she was involved with a married doctor. The scandal not only led to a lawsuit from the doctor's family but also caused her own parents to disown her, unwilling to be associated with such a disgrace. Barbara and John, my former parents, fared no better. Their clinic, once a source of pride for the neighborhood, had become a name associated with scandal. After the wedding, stories about how they treated me as a child began to spread. Neighbors and acquaintances started questioning their actions, and many began to avoid the clinic. The number of patients dwindled, leading to financial difficulties and ultimately the closure of the clinic. I heard they had tried to contact me many times, perhaps looking for help, but every time they showed up at the hospital where Ethan worked, they had to face my in-laws, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. With a stern and resolute attitude, my in-laws instructed security to escort them off the hospital premises. All their efforts were in vain because I had decided long ago to cut off all contact with them. Since then, my life became even more peaceful. My company continued to grow, securing new contracts with major hospitals and even expanding into providing food services for schools and healthcare centers. Ethan was always by my side, supporting every decision I made, and Max grew up to be a smart and well-behaved boy. One day while I was at the office, the receptionist informed me that a woman wanted to see me. She didn't give her name, only saying she was an old acquaintance. Curious, I stepped outside and was shocked to find Emily standing there. But the woman before me was no longer the arrogant, haughty girl I once knew. Her hair was messy, her clothes wrinkled, and dark circles under her eyes told the story of hard days. "Clara, can you help me?" Her voice was hoarse, almost pleading. I stood still, saying nothing. Old memories rushed back. The times she pushed me down, the hurtful words, and the cold, dismissive look she gave me when I left home. "I've lost everything. Daniel, he divorced me. Mom and Dad don't want me either. I have nowhere to go. Please, just give me a job, any job." Emily broke down, tears streaming down her gaunt cheeks. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to help, but another part warned me that she might just be trying to use me again. "Emily, you used to call me a failure, so why do you need my help now?" "I know I was wrong, but I really have no one left. Please, I don't want to end up homeless." She collapsed to the floor, holding her head in her hands. I took a deep breath, then crouched down and spoke to her, my voice gentle but firm. "Emily, everyone deserves a fresh start, but that doesn't mean I can forget everything you've done. If you truly want to change, you have to stand up, find a way to help yourself. No one can help you if you aren't willing to help yourself." I stood up and signaled for the security guard to escort her out. It wasn't because I was cold or cruel, but because I understood that sometimes real help means letting others face their mistakes on their own. And so I returned to my life, continuing my work, caring for my family and protecting everything I had built. The ghosts of the past had become nothing more than distant memories, and I knew I had truly turned a new page in my life. My life gradually settled into a peaceful rhythm after all the storms. I completely cut off contact with my old family, no longer bothered by calls or messages from the past. Ethan and Max became my new world, a place where I could truly love and be loved unconditionally. Max, my energetic little boy, made a remarkable recovery. After receiving treatment at a reputable hospital, he no longer had to worry about his previous health issues. Every morning I saw his bright smile as he ran around the yard, eagerly telling me stories from kindergarten. Each laugh of his felt like a healing balm, soothing the deep wounds of my past. My work at the company also thrived. I expanded the business, securing new contracts with hospitals and schools. My relentless efforts finally paid off, with the company achieving significant milestones. Every time I stood in front of my team, I felt proud of having built something truly meaningful. Ethan remained my unwavering support. He was not only a husband and a partner but also someone who understood and encouraged me in every decision I made. We often spent weekend afternoons cooking together, taking Max to the park, or simply sitting together on the sofa, watching warm family movies. I found peace in those simple moments. Though the past had not been kind, I learned to let go. The pain my old family caused no longer held power over me. Instead, I chose to turn it into a driving force to live a better life. I knew I couldn't change the past, but I could decide how I would live moving forward. One autumn evening as our family sat together, Max suddenly asked, "Mom, why are you always so happy?" I looked at him, then at Ethan, feeling the warmth spreading throughout the room. "Because I have you and Daddy. That makes me the happiest person in the world." I had found my true family, and this time, I would do everything to protect this happiness. The new chapters of my life had begun, and I knew there was a whole sky of hope waiting for me. Clara Mitchell's story is a clear reminder that life can sometimes bring deep wounds, but how we face and overcome them truly defines our worth. From being abandoned by her family, Clara stood up, built a new life, and safeguarded her happiness. She showed that no matter how painful the past is, if we learn to let go and move forward, we can always find light and genuine peace. What do you think about Clara Mitchell's emotional journey? Share your thoughts on her choices and path in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss more inspiring stories about life and family on our channel.